delicatebeats.com.
What's up, YouTube fam? JT here for delicatebeats.com. Today I want to show you how I pick my kicks and 808s when I'm making trap beats, and also I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to mix those sounds. Let's go. Alright, so here we are in my DAW Ableton Live 9, and I've got two 808s. I've got this first one right here with a little bit of distortion, which makes it more of a high pitch, quote unquote, sound. And then I have a more natural sounding 808, which is way deeper, way more in the sub frequencies. So we're gonna need two different kicks to complement each of these 808s. I've already got some kicks lined up for you here. So here's more of a deeper kick, and then I've got this higher distorted kick right here. And as you can see, it already sounds great just like that. So I might not even touch anything on this particular one. Let's try the second one. It's already sounding pretty great. Obviously, I've done this so many times now that just by picking the sounds, I kind of know which sounds are going to fit well together, and also which are the ones who will give me the least amount of work during the mixing stage. Pretty good combinations for both. Let's go back to the first one, and let's throw in some EQ on each of those tracks. So if you know my work, I'm a very, very big fan of the Pro Q2. Never heard of that EQ before? You really, really need to check it out. First of all, it's very low in CPU usage, which I like because I EQ pretty much every single track on my beats. And also this one has surgical precision. It's very, very flexible. Cannot recommend this one highly enough. We've got the EQ on the 808 track. Now we're going to put one on the kick track, and what you want to do is a technique called frequency separation. So what that means is, if for example, let's just look at the 808 first. As you can see, the frequency that's most prominent in this sound is roughly around 70 Hertz. So usually what I'll do, and because this one is more in the I would say in the lows, but not so much the sub lows, what I'll do is I'll roll off anything that's below. Let's go for an arbitrary value here of 60 Hertz and see if it changed the character. Because when you want to, do those low cuts, what you really want to look for is to cut anything that's not, that doesn't take any thing from the natural sound. So you can go and mute the EQ and see if the character of the sound has changed. So if I roll it off all the way up to 100, it still sounds very much. Maybe I took a bit too much out. So let's go back to, let's say, 65. And now what we're gonna do with the kick is we're basically going to remove some of that 69 Hertz frequency, like so. And usually what I'll do is I'll also low cut the sound, let's say around 40 Hertz. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm going to listen to the kick and see if I changed the natural character of the sound with my EQ. It's just a bit cleaner with the EQ, and if you want to make it even deeper, you can also compensate. Usually when you cut a value, it's always good to either EQ on one of those sides to compensate. So something like that. And then you can play with the balance, meaning the volume between one another. And quite frankly, at 0 dBs for both, I feel like it really sounds good. So the next step would be to sequence just a basic kick and 808 pattern to see how they both react to a groove, basically, because it's one thing to have them fit like that, just one hit, but once you get into more of a pattern with some complexity in it, you want to make sure that they still sound great. So I'm going to set up the kick first, and I'm just going to throw in a snare here for reference purposes. Oops, my bad. That's not right. All right. Something like that. And then what you want to do is duplicate your 808 hits on each of the kicks. Usually I like to stop my 808s on the snare, like so. And let's unmute the 808. So that sounds pretty good to me. Now what we could do is sidechain the 808 to the kick so that the kick has more prominence when it hits, but then you've got the 808 coming back in. So let's try that. Let's throw in a compressor on the 808 track, and we're going to sidechain this bad boy using Audio 2, which is my kick. You should rename your tracks, especially if you have a lot of sidechain going on in your mixes and tracks. In this case, I only have like 4 sounds, so it's not too much of a deal. So listen to what it actually does. You hear that wave in the volume? So that makes it possible for you to bring the volume of your kick up even more if that's what you're into. So I'm very pleased with that result. Now what I would probably do is, automate the pitch, to have something like maybe, a little slide at the end. I didn't know why it didn't show up at first. So let's throw in some little automation points here. What I usually like is, to lower the pitch. By the way, when you want to do some pitch automations, you want to press this little E button at the bottom when you double click on a clip, and you want to go for transposition modulation, and then you can maybe make it higher by an octave. Use the Complex Pro algorithm. Then you can throw in some sick kick rolls like so. And we have a cool basic groove. Now, you can improve that 808 line with, to follow some chords or some melodies, but the basic idea here is to have a strong foundation between the kick and the 808. Let's move on to our deeper, more natural 808, and let's do the same thing, but basically what's going to happen here is we're going to do the opposite of what we've done. So because our kick is more high pitch, I'm going to roll off most of the sub frequencies in the kick, and pretty sure that we can go all the way up to 60. It might sound strange to you, but really when it comes down to it, you want to clean as many of the very, very low, almost inaudible frequencies as you can to have the easiest mix to work with. because usually those sub-frequencies you don't hear, but they take a lot of energy, and sometimes you can't crank up, you know, the volume if you're at some point of the mastering stage. So it becomes very frustrating. So the more you can take out, the better. So I'd say around 60 is a good starting point. Let's play it with the 808. And see here how deep that 808 is. I can really, you know, adjust the balance and you know, lower it by like 5-6 dBs, and you don't really hear any difference in terms of like it's still very present. And that's the actual illusion of using a kick and hitting at the exact same time as the 808 with the right proportions and frequencies for both sounds. So I'm already pleased with that. Let's see what kind of EQ work we can get done with the this lower 808. I'm still, again, going to low cut this sound. Let's try around 50 to begin with. No, that's too much. See? So probably 40 will be the best. And now these low sounds are very it can easily muddy up the mix too. So what you want to do then is find a little bell around 200 hertz and just so around 140 I feel we could remove some of the mud. And then because it's so deep, let's try to find some upper harmonic. So around 3000 we could do it like a big bell like that, just to bring out some of the, you know, the higher harmonics. And then so that's pretty good. Let's work on the kick. It feels a bit boxy to me. So usually what you want to do is remove some of that 400 to 500 hertz to make it just sound a bit deeper. So I like that. And let's do the same here and sidechain the 808 to the kick. This time it's audio 4. By the way, I have my compressor set up so that it always sounds good in a sidechain context. What you want to do is, you know, probably reduce the volume by 6 to 10 dBs. I know it's very intense, but it's still kind of the sound of today. So you want to look out for, you know, enough volume lowering so that it hits properly with the kick first, and then you get like the big 808 trail that you're looking for. Alright, so because I'm very lazy, I'm just gonna match the groove that I had here. Like that, and then let's do the same work on the 808. Oops. And let's put those two to the test. And that sounds pretty good to me. Again, I'm not going to go and do more work on the 808. I would probably now just pull up some keys, either an Omnisphere or a Serum, and just get started with some melody ideas. And then it's really up to you what kind of vibe you're going for. This obviously is more of a, you know, an aggressive, you know, banger, where this one could be more of a, you know, emotional trap joint, so something along the lines of Post Malone. So also have this in mind when you start out a beat. What kind of vibe are you going for? Like what kind of ambiance you want to create? What kind of story you want to tell with the sounds? So that's all I have for you today. I hope you found these little tips helpful, and go out there and make some trap bangers for me. All right, keep me posting in the comments. Like and subscribe. The channel needs you guys. So on this note, have a great production day. All right, peace out.